Sunday night. This will drop Monday morning, March the 3rd. Elimination Chamber dropped some huge bombs, as we saw. What is your immediate reaction? We'll get into all the specifics of Elimination Chamber, but what was your immediate reaction of the whole show altogether?
The whole show I thought was very good. I got to give them, kudos. I think it was a very, very good show. And I think that was a bomb they dropped on us. It really reminded me a lot of the night that Hogan turned. And, he never turned. And then I thought, I was kind of like you. I thought Cody was going to be the one that turned. And then I started suspecting it was going to go the other way. And I was really shocked by this. But it was a good bomb. And wrestling is probably the most suspenseful when there's a lot of surprises.
Well, and my biggest thing is like Triple H has said, it's not fun when you can predict a whole movie throughout. You want to go to a movie and enjoy it. So it's same thing with wrestling. You want to go to a show, whether you watch it at home or go to the venue, and you want to be surprised whatever might happen. And I think we were all surprised from top to bottom.
Absolutely, absolutely. I didn't see this coming. It really not how I thought it was going to play out. I thought it was going to end up being some kind of an angle where it ended up being a three-way triple threat match. Is what I thought it was going to end up being since The Rock come out there. But it did not turn out that way, and I think they did a wonderful job. Kudos to Triple H on all of it. I think it was great.
And I think personally that, like The Rock had said in the post show, that this has kind of been in the scenes in the back of the scene, in the back for quite a while. The whole throat slash, we saw that way back at Bad Blood. Didn't really know what that was about, but now we do know what that was about.
That's right. And I think to me, you want to jump way ahead of the game here and make predictions who's going to win?
We will once we get to the end. But first, I want to talk about, the opening of the show and kind of where we started to see, everything start playing out. They dropped a bomb from the start when Jade Cargill returned. I did not see that coming when the women's chamber was starting to go underway. I thought we were going to have a clean chamber match that Bianca and Naomi was going to beat up on Liv Morgan quite a bit, just because that they have been played that Liv was the one who hospitalized Jade. But we find out last night that maybe it wasn't Liv and Raquel Rodriguez. Maybe it was Naomi.
And you talking about a surprise? I think Naomi got a surprise too, didn't she?
Yes.
She was really shocked.
And I'm really interested to see how they do this with, like, for example, like with the Raw and SmackDown this week when it comes to the whole Jade, Naomi, and Bianca. Because, you don't know where I know where they're probably going to eventually go with this, but right now, as a wrestling fan, I want answers, because if Naomi truly jumped Jade, I want to see the video, if there's video. Because the only video that we had of Liv and Raquel was them walking away from the incident.
Right.
But they could have been innocent bystanders.
I think definitely Raw is a must-watch tomorrow night.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I may be a little late about watching it, but I'm going to try to watch.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it live or even watch it tomorrow night. I've got other plans on going on tomorrow night, but I'm definitely going to try to watch it sometime this week.
Well, I'll definitely probably watch some of it tomorrow night, but I probably won't get to watch it live.
Right. But I tell you what, the Women's Chamber last night was actually a very good match. And Bianca Belair ended up winning it and will either face Rhea Ripley or Io Sky. They will have a match tomorrow night. So you know Bianca will be at Raw and be out there probably ringside watching to see who she will be facing at Mania.
You think Jade will show up in it on Raw?
I don't know. I would like to think maybe, but I'm really interested to see where this goes.
Or is it going to leave more suspense if you don't have her show up?
That's a good one. And what I would like to know, truthfully, is this is just speculation. This is just two wrestling fans talking at this point. Is Naomi good enough where she's not hurt enough to maybe her and Jade at Mania? Because that would be a nice match.
I assume that's where it might go.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. But, I mean, I tell you what, Mania is going to be a must-watch event this year. I mean, Manias are usually always top-notch, but I think, I've been an off-and-on wrestling fan for probably 10 years now. But over the last year, I've really got back into it. And I tell you what, Triple H has done a phenomenal job with it. And I know you have your things on Vince. You're a Vince lover.
Maybe we need to do a Vince McMahon show one of these days.
But I tell you what, Triple H has really ignited a fire into my love for the WWE right now. And I tell you what, Mania is going to be a huge event.
Yes, it will be. And I understand it's already sold out.
Oh, it's sold
That's
out.
I've told it was already sold out, and these seats are going for $5,000 and $10,000 a piece.
That is insane.
Unbelievable! What I don't know what the gate's going to be. It's going to be a crazy, unbelievable gate. Probably record.
Oh, I bet. Well, I mean, they've already had record breaking all year long.
The Rumble was record breaking for a Rumble, I think.
Yeah. And I believe last night was record breaking for outside of the United States and Canada.
I think that they said that the Rumble was the highest producing pay-per-view, with the exception of last year's WrestleMania. So just imagine what WrestleMania, it's probably going to set a whole new record this year.
Oh, I bet. And how do you feel about the older wrestlers coming back to help out the younger wrestlers?
What do you mean?
Well, how do you feel about Trish Stratus?
I'm fine with it. As long as they're still able to perform, and she's performing great.
I think she's done a
She
phenomenal
does
job.
a great job. I mean,
for those of you who don't know, so Stratus she'd been training back in the fall, and I'd kind of been noticing this, and I made the hot shot prediction way back before Christmas.
you said that. I remember that.
To one of my friends, plus
I remember you said it to me.
You, that I said, I think she's going to make some type of return. I figured she was going to be one of those fill-ins at Rumble.
The Rumble, but she's more than that.
And she's been more than that. And I guess it was one night on Raw she come out and helped out Tiffany Stratton, and they ended up coming together and having a 2-on-2 match with Nia Jax and Candice LeRae last night, and that was a phenomenal match. Tiffany looked amazing, as always. Trish looked amazing, as always. I think with wrestlers, I don't think they're going to go out there and perform if they can't perform.
No. I think I wouldn't be surprised whether they're pushing Trish that she don't end up getting the strap put back on her at some point.
Well,
they could also have a run there that being the oldest champion for a female, maybe. How old is
she's like
in her 40s, ain't
I
she?
think she's like 49.
Really?
Yeah, but I tell you what, she looked really good.
So she's old. She's well older than Natty, then, ain't she?
Yes. But I think the main reason why she decided to come back is this is her 25th anniversary.
Right.
So I don't know if this is considered her retirement run or if she's just coming to do a few things.
I don't know what other people. I'd like to hear what other people think about this, but I believe her wrestling skills in some way are better than they were her other run.
Yes.
Because her other run, she was more eye candy, especially in the beginning of it. And she did wrestle and stuff, but I think she's honed her wrestling skills in maybe, she don't have the youth, but her wrestling skills are great.
And, the women being eye candy does sell. It does. But I tell you what I really appreciate about Triple H is he's actually made an actual division for the women.
Yeah, it's a competitive
be
division.
Competitive.
Yeah, we're just not being focusing on eye candy anymore.
Right.
It's competitive. It's really before it was almost a joke.
It really was.
You know, it's just something out there
like
TNA show, but this is not that now.
Like right. Like the last time, back in the early 2000s when Trish was here, when she stripped down and Vince had her do that in the middle of the ring. That was funny at the time.
Right, that wouldn't sell
but
now.
That don't sell to me, and that don't sell to a lot of the fans,
especially this day and time.
Because especially right now when they're supposedly proposing a family-friendly promotion, you have to almost sell competitive over the eye candy.
How many sponsors are going to advertise with them having Trish down on her knees barking like a dog? Come on, that was 25 years ago. Things are different now.
Things have completely changed. But I tell you what, it was a wonderful match. And I told you this last night during the match. I will take a veteran with skill over a lady with strength any day. And I took that last night with Trish over Nia Jax.
Yes.
Because, yes, Nia is a strong gal. I would not want to go one-on-one with her.
No,
as
she's a good performer. There's no question.
But from a woman who's been doing this for 25 years, there's no question.
No. That's very, very true. And Nia, like I said, Nia is a good performer, but, she's not the in-ring worker that, say, Trish is.
No, not at all. And I don't understand what Candice LeRae's deal is. I haven't understood her gimmick really much.
What do you mean?
Like, what's her story?
I don't really know much about her.
That's kind of how I am. Like, I just kind of like, she's basically like Nia Jax's little puppet.
Yeah.
That's kind of basically the only thing that I'm kind of getting out right now. But we're gonna venture on. What do you think of the Unsanctioned match?
I thought it was a good match. I think it was very brutal. I like how he found all those neat toys underneath the ring.
Those neat toys that Sami Zayn, that was very surprised about.
He pulled that chair out and looked at it like, how'd they get there?
I thought Michael Cole was going to go out there and tap in.
Yeah.
I tell you what. No, I thought it was a very brutal match. That is one thing that I will say. It was very brutal. But
I don't know if this is kayfabe or not, but they're reporting today that Sami Zayn was injured. And I don't know if that's a kayfabe injury or if he was really injured.
Well, last night it was either Kathy Kelly or Jackie Redmond in the post show stated that he was not at the venue, which it was held at the Rogers Center in Toronto, Canada last night.
Used to be the Sky Dome, right?
Yes, but like you said, I don't know if it was fabricated or if it was legit. But they claimed he went to the hospital, and I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. If he didn't go to the hospital, if he didn't go to the hospital.
No, it was pretty brutal.
It was very brutal.
It was pretty brutal.
But I tell you what, one of my favorite...
Anytime you wrap barbed wire around a chair and hit somebody with it, it's going to be brutal.
I tell you what my favorite part about that entire match is I think it was Kevin picked up a trash can and threw it at Zayn. And I love Pat McAfee, by the way. Pat looked up and was watching. He goes, "Oh, he just threw Dominic Mysterio at him."
Yeah, the trash can. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good, Pat.
I give Pat props on that. What do you think about Pat being commentary?
I think he does a great job. I really do.
I'll be honest with you. When he first came onto the scene a couple of years ago, I was kind of iffy about it. But I tell you what, he does.
I think he does a wonderful job now, and he knows he knows his history. That's what I like about him.
He does.
He knows he knows things that happened in the past, and and that's good. I mean, be able to bring up things like that, and I think that I think he's doing spectacular. I think him and Michael Cole is a great team.
Hmm. Now, I don't really care much for that. I guess his name is Wade Barrett.
I don't even know who that is.
He's a former wrestler, but he's like a Debbie Downer.
Yeah, I was.
He was like the entire time Trish was out there. Oh, he's talking about, oh, she's rusty. She's got a lot of rust on her. Blah blah blah. Rust this, rust that. I'm like, she looks good.
He reminded me of trying to be like Taz in AEW. Taz used to be the wrestler. Taz is an announcer there, and I like Taz, but but Pat McAfee's naturally got a funny gimmick. He's got to naturally be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And, the other guy, negativity, just I don't know, didn't sell. And I hate to be this way, but some people just got a broadcast voice, and some people don't. I don't think that guy's got a broadcast voice.
No,
I'm not trying to be an idiot about it, but there's some people it does, some people don't.
And I'll be honest with you, I think I'd rather have Big E out there.
Yeah, I think Big E does a great job.
And I mean, if Big E can't wrestle, I think he needs to be the third man out there
Right.
for those big
Right.
pay-per-views, because he does a phenomenal job on the pre and post shows.
Yes, he does. He does a good job.
He's been around forever. He knows his wrestling, and I mean, I think he would do a phenomenal job ringside.
Yes, if they're going to have a third person there, I think that's who I'd like to have.
Yes,
is have Big E there. But
or even, I mean, if they're going to, my opinion, if they're going to start bringing in a lot of the NXT shows, like kind of what we've been hearing rumblings about for probably the last 6 months, bring Booker T over.
Jim Ross has always said he does not like a 3-man announce team. He's always said that he doesn't like one. I'm not saying I totally dislike it, but sometimes to do it, you need three guys that it's not so much it's how good they mesh together.
Right. Now, I can agree with that for your weekly shows.
Mm-hmm.
Weekly shows, I say keep it at the two. Like for Monday Night Raw, it needs to be Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, because their energy together is spectacular.
To me, they're like Jim Ross and Larry the King Lawler was.
Oh, absolutely.
That was one of the best pairs ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those two remind me of that.
I was trying to think of this the other day. What was JR's famous saying that he used to always say?
Well, there was a lot of them. Slobber knocker.
Slobber knocker. That's the one I was thinking of.
You can beat him like a government mule. He beat him like a government mule. JR had a lot of them.
So is JR still in AEW part time?
Yes, he's doing. I think the last 3 matches of pay-per-views, like the main event and 2 others or something like that. I think he's there maybe for what's their big one, Dynamite on Wednesdays.
Okay. I got you. I tell you what,
Still the voice of wrestling.
I tell you what, I was. You're gonna like this. I watched a show last night after I went to lay down called Biographies WWE, and I'll show you where you can watch it because I'm sure you'll be interested. And this one was about the NWO, and this actually leads into our next
the New World Order.
And the star of that show was none other than the owner of the podcast 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff.
Mm-hmm.
He was on there, and he explained how he kind of created the New World Order in WCW.
Eric did?
Yes. And I tell you what, they showed some clips from the old WCW days. He was really good.
Eric was really good. He was when he come to WWE. When he was general manager. He was playing he was a talent at that point. Like in WCW, he was really the president.
Why is he out of wrestling? Somebody, I mean, he's got some age on him, but surely he's
still fine. I don't know.
He's good health wise. I mean, if I had a promotion, I'd be trying to fit him in somewhere.
He was in TNA for a long time. After he left WWE, he did a stint in TNA. I don't know. They brought him back actually here a couple of years ago, and I think in 2019, and he was actually going to be the true general manager of Raw, and it didn't last very long. Some people think Vince used him as a fall guy, but whatever. But no, Eric is very talented. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer now.
He in that show that I watched, he actually explained how he actually took a trip to Japan and watched their wrestling promotion, their big wrestling promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And because they were selling out venues when WWE and WCW was not.
Right.
So he had to figure out how to sell out here in the States.
Right.
So that's kind of how he figured it out. He took a trip to Japan, and he kind of figured that out.
You know, the NWO was a huge deal, and it totally changed wrestling. And it would have probably, that gimmick would have lasted a lot longer if they hadn't made half of the roster NWO.
Yeah, that's, watching that particular episode, I really noticed that
5 or 6 of them should have been the limit.
After Hulk was the Hulkamania for many years, the red and yellow look, and then he went to the straight black. He was the NW. Then Hulk, Hollywood
Hogan, what he called
yeah,
us, Hollywood Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan, yeah.
And it seemed like everybody was an NWO heel. Like
They started bringing
Giant.
It started off as Nash, Scott Hall, and Hogan.
Yes.
And that was good, and I could have understood them adding a few more, but not. They ended up adding half the roster.
Yes.
Everybody was NWO after a while.
And I mean, that gimmick, like you said, would have been good with about maximum maybe 6.
Yeah, about 6 people was all they needed, and it got out of hand. And Eric even says today that was a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But moving on to the next, we had the men's chamber match. So, what did you think of the men's chamber match?
I thought it was really good. I think the order in which they were eliminated didn't surprise me a whole lot. I kind of saw that coming. That's kind of what I thought would happen. I wasn't sure. I kind of thought that there for a long time. I kind of thought, of course, they had this plan, but I kind of thought Punk was going to maybe, end up being the one that challenged Cody. But it didn't work out that way. And
well,
here's my thought: if Cena wins, I think Punk will be the one that dethrones him.
You think that's a SummerSlam or?
I think that's a SummerSlam thing.
Yeah. Because that's a solid 2.5 month reign.
Yeah. Then at some point, Punk and, of course, they're both babyface, but Punk and Cody will.
I don't think Cody is out of it. I don't think he'll ever.
Maybe not.
What I mean by that is, even if Cena gets champion at Mania, I would hate to see that be it for Cody for several years.
If Cena wins, I don't think he'll hold it past SummerSlam. I don't think Cena's won a match in how long?
Oh, it's
long time.
It's probably been a couple of years.
Yeah, of course I know he hadn't wrestled that much, but
right.
But no, I think they did a phenomenal job with all that last night.
Well, with this new gimmick, things change.
That's true. I think it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. I think WrestleMania will be good.
Oh, I think so.
It'll be really good. I think it'll be interesting to see where it all goes. And I think it could set up a very interesting SummerSlam.
Absolutely.
I think that'll be a big show. And what's the one after WrestleMania? There's one or two pay-per-views after that, ain't there?
Well, there's one before WrestleMania, isn't there? There's one. When's Money in the Bank? Or is that in June?
I think that's in June.
Okay.
But there's also another one that's WrestleMania something or another, isn't there? Afterwards, where
they don't have it announced and planned out like Vince did. Vince had them like all lined out from like January on.
Right.
But so Cena did win the Chamber match, and he the big news is he turned heel after Cody Rhodes denied the
offer from The Rock.
Offer from The Rock, and
The Rock knew he would never do that, so that's why he had Cena already groomed.
Told him to go F himself, and then that's when Cena turned. But
I was surprised Cody did that.
I really was on live television with it being on. Of course, it was on Peacock,
right?
But with it being on live television, I didn't think that would happen.
No, I was surprised. I mean, Cody was stood up. He was stood up for what he believed in. That was good.
That was really good.
It was good.
I almost forgot something huge though, and we completely bypassed it.
What's that?
The return of Randy Orton.
Yes, that's big.
That is a huge news that I almost forgot. I apologize.
And Kevin Owens probably ain't gonna forget it either, is he?
No, I think that's your Mania match.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be a good match too.
Probably be brutal.
That'll be a brutal match, and Kevin Owens likes them nasty and brutal.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting on that one.
Remember, I think it was...
Kevin's responsible for Orton's injury, right?
Yes. I think it was in 2020. I don't remember who Owens faced, but remember when everything was shut down and, they had time to film. Remember they used the entirety of Tropicana Field to, tear up each other,
right?
Driving golf carts into each other. I don't remember who he.
Well, didn't Kevin Owens and Randy Orton become good friends at one time?
I think so.
Then it all turned south.
Of course, Kevin Owens does that with everybody.
He's a psychopath.
He is,
and I think he likes to be abused. He didn't like that barbed wire in the face last night, though, did he?
No.
But Randy Orton, didn't he look like $1 million?
He looked really good.
He looked good. I mean, he really did. I'm not trying to be weird about it, but he looked good.
No, he looked good.
You could tell he'd been in the gym. He was ready to go and looked intense.
Now, what I want to know is, was it an injury with quotation marks, or was it an actual injury?
I think it was actually an injury.
Because there was a lot of reports,
But Randy Orton's getting a little agey, too.
A lot of question marks, like, was this a planned injury, or was this an actual
I think
injury?
It was actually an injury. I think it was. I don't know if it was actually an injury from Kevin, but it was actually an injury.
Right. Very possible. But no, we've got a lot of good things. So you're listening to this on Monday morning or Monday afternoon before Raw. I highly suggest you turn on Raw on Monday night, give it a watch.
Definitely, Raw is going to be a must watch this week.
Great episode, and even SmackDown on Friday night, because that's where Cody Rhodes performs at. So I'm sure there'll be something to do with.
I think both shows are going.
Cena will be at SmackDown on Friday night at some point doing something. So
I think both shows will be a must watch.
We will have some very big either bombshell news or some answers, whether it be from Jade Cargill, the Kevin Owens and the Viper Randy Orton, or maybe we'll see some actual heel John Cena in action. I'm not saying that he'll come out there and wrestle, but he may come out there and.
I'm sure that him and Rock will come out for a promo.
I figure,
and that would be kind of interesting to hear what they have to say. I will say that.
Absolutely. I want to ask you one more question before we move on from wrestling. I saw this on Facebook. You know how Facebook is. You know how the rumors are. You know how all that fun jabber is.
Mm-hmm. The rumor mill.
Yes. He held up a 3. Could there be a third like there was in the NWO?
That's possible. I wondered about if they were going to bring somebody else with it, but who? Who would they bring?
I've heard rumors. I take this for what it's worth, and don't come over the table and slap me or anything like that. But this is what I heard through the rumor mill on good old Facebook was Logan Paul.
Well,
And before you
Yeah.
answer, I will let you think about that. I don't hate that idea
No, I don't hate it either. I don't hate that idea at all.
because I would like to see Logan Paul as a heel.
Yeah. I don't hate that idea at all. What's a chance? Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
I mean, not saying that they would wrestle a three, like a tag team of three together, The Rock, Cena, and say Paul, but to have those three guys just come out there and be heels, I think it'd be kind of cool.
What do you see with Seth Rollins? He's one I wondered if they wouldn't try to bring over.
I don't know. He's
Because he and Punk hate each other.
right. I think that's your Mania match.
Oh, yeah, I think so. It would, yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if a third one. I wondered about Seth.
Just think about that for a few days. And,
Yeah.
We'll talk about.
And
it
I'm
next
sure there'll
week.
be some more rumors within the rumor mill coming around.
I'm 100% certain we will hear a bunch about it.
But no, before we wrap up wrestling, I'll say that it was a great show. I thought they did a wonderful job. I thought it was phenomenal how they done it all.
Absolutely. I like I said, I really enjoyed it. Of course,
I mean, The Rock is expressing himself as a real douche. He's doing a good job at it.
Yes.
And there's a lot, I think people was totally shocked that John Cena, who had never been a heel, that has turned heel. So I think it's going to make the rest of. I think that the weekly shows are going to be very interesting, leading up all the way up to WrestleMania.
All right. So now that we've talked all about the Elimination Chamber, we're going to move on to some football news and potential rumors. So the first thing that was big in the football world was that Matthew Stafford has agreed to a contract to stay in L.A. Are you kind of surprised about that one? Because
Yes,
I am.
very much, very much. I thought he was gone. I'm sure they've had to restructure because unless they restructure, they're going to have to give him about $50 million this year. And I don't know what they've done now or anything, but no, I was so shocked by that. I thought he was going to end up probably, Lord knows where.
I didn't get the exact contract specifics, but I think it's a healthy contract, but
Oh, it is.
he wanted to stay. And
Yeah.
I think...
Well, that's a team that's ready to go now.
Oh, I agree, and I think it shows to a guy that's willing to, restructure a contract to help a team win. Don't think I'm saying this, but a guy like a Tom Brady who done that multiple times with New England,
Mm-hmm.
Stafford is doing similar with the Rams, and I really respect that.
And that's happened. Troy Aikman done it when he was with Dallas. I mean, that if a quarterback is really invested into a team and cares, they're going to do that.
Absolutely, and I really like that. I do.
And then because in the bottom line, in the end, he's going to get his money.
Oh yeah,
at some point. So
absolutely.
But no, I didn't see that coming. I'm kind of glad that he is, though, to be honest with you.
Yes. At the end of the day, I really am happy because I didn't want to see Stafford move because I'd heard rumors that he could have went to the Giants, and I think we even talked about this last week. But when I look at him of a -1 ring Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm.
That two-teamer that, is really focused on those two teams. I didn't want him to have to just float around late in his career like a Brett Favre trying to find his home.
Well, Stafford's 37?
He's getting up there.
So he's old enough. He needs to win. He needs to be where he needs to be right now.
Yes.
And I think it's the best move for him. I think it's the best move for the Rams.
Yes. And, I mean, I think he's pretty healthy. He's sleeping in that nice bed that you see on the commercials.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he's set up pretty good.
I think, like I said, I think it's the best for him and the Rams.
So, do you think that the 49ers are rebuilding now?
I don't know. They have to rebuild, but they need some help.
Well, I mean, they just sent Debo Samuel to Washington.
What are they getting out of him?
A 5th rounder.
Yeah, I thought they'd have got more than a 5th rounder.
You would have thought, but I tell you what, that is a good deal for Washington because that's what Washington lacked last year. Because I like their coach. I'm a big supporter in their coach. So to see that trade, I thought that was a perfect trade for them.
I heard it was a 5th. I was a little disappointed in that for San Francisco.
But for Washington.
No, it's a great deal for Washington.
It's
a good deal for Washington.
Now, if you can get Debo Samuel from 2 years ago, you're golden.
Right.
But if you get Debo Samuel from maybe this year or last year, he was still elite. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I think about 2 to 3 years ago, I think he was better off.
But I still think a 5th round is really a good deal for Washington on him.
Oh, absolutely. So, did you watch any of the Combine this week?
No, I didn't. I worked all week, and I just didn't get to.
I didn't either.
It's really hard.
It is. But, I am excited. The draft is, April?
Yeah, April.
Well, think about it. We're only about a month and a half away. If you think
what week of April? Is it the 2nd or 3rd week of April?
2nd or 3rd week in April. So, I mean, you think about it, we're about a month and a half away. So that is insane to me. So, Combine did happen this week.
I mean, free agencies after that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't hear much about what happened. I mean, what they thought about the Combine, which a lot of that's kind of a little bit dry.
It is kind of boring.
Unless you're really a coach, that you're really not getting a great lot out of it.
Unless you're really invested into college football,
right?
Then it's
kind of dry. It's kind of dry.
Right.
I don't mind watching a little bit of it.
Because I know growing up, you used to watch it, like in the morning times or something, like if you didn't, like before you went to work or whatnot. But I never really watched it. I don't even watch the baseball combine or anything. That's just not really my.
No, it's like I said, I'll watch a little bit of it, but it's pretty dry. What about the rumors I want to bring before we leave football? Is Gronk going to come back and play?
I think those are false hope rumors.
Or is that something to get his promotions up? Is he?
You know what I want to see him do? I want to see him come back to the ring.
Yeah, but he didn't do much when he was there. I don't think he can wrestle.
He didn't have a good gimmick though.
No, he really didn't. He wasn't there for just a little while and disappeared.
But he could have a good gimmick. He's a big, strong man.
Yeah,
he could have a good gimmick.
He's still.
I mean, he's still he hasn't had a.
He retired too young though.
Yeah, but
from football, he was too young.
Yeah, but I just don't see him coming back.
He says the workload he's got now, he could be playing football.
Yeah, I personally I don't see it.
But if the workload he has now is still not going to be as physical as what he would do if he was playing football.
No. Maybe he'll come back to the UFL.
Nah, if he does anything, it'll be NFL.
Why not the UFL? Why not have fun with a bunch of kids that are trying to get into the league?
Because they're not going to pay him the amount of money that the NFL will.
Well,
the NFL will pay him. Somebody will give him a mountain of money.
Come perform in the ring on Monday nights.
That's true.
And then go perform on the field on Saturdays, and you're getting 2 checks, literally signed by The Rock.
Double dipping, and getting The Rock to pay the bill.
I mean, that's what I want to see. That's the perfect gimmick.
I think that I'm like you. I think when it comes down to it, he won't come back. He could be trying to make himself a little more relevant right now, get himself trending a little bit more.
Or do you think he's trying to get more money out of Fox?
Could be that too. He could be trying to get some more promotions. Making himself trend a little bit more on Twitter.
This wasn't ever
Because he was trending the other day, I think. That was brought up. So
this wasn't ever put on our notes, but have you think about this, and maybe we'll talk about it later on as we move forward into the summer. But do you see Tom Brady leaving Fox to work for the Vegas Raiders?
not this year, but I think it's possible.
I had originally thought maybe this year, but
$37 million a year is a lot of money. Even
but
for Tom Brady, that's a lot of money.
He's not hurting though, dude.
No,
he's not
but
hurting at all.
It's still a lot of money.
I get that. He's not hurting though.
No, he's not hurting any. But every year he does that, he adds $37 million to his net worth. So I don't know. I don't know what he'll do. He claims he really enjoyed it. And I thought he'd done a good job.
Oh, he done a fantastic job. Him and Kevin Burkhardt have great chemistry.
Great chemistry. I thought he broke the game down good. He showed a lot of enthusiasm. So,
and I tell you what that I liked more than anything is he challenged the referees.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of plays like during the Super Bowl where they were kind of potentially going towards the Chiefs' direction.
Right.
He's like, no. Kind of, like the term in baseball that we used there for several years. Let the kids play.
Right. Let them play. Let them play the game.
And if you look back at any of his highlights, most of his highlights, there's a lot of hard hits that he took, but they didn't call, roughing the passer or, all these bogus calls that, you basically touch Patrick Mahomes, roughing the passer, automatic first and goal on the 1 yard line.
And those videos they do of him, our Lord and Savior. They make so much fun of him now.
Because it's a joke.
Yeah.
They've made it a joke. And I don't care if you're a fan of the Chiefs or not. Of course,
automatic win, Chiefs.
I am not a Chiefs fan. But for the integrity of the game, you need to go and you need to have them look at all the plays and break it down and do a full investigation to see that there is nothing that is leaning towards the Chiefs.
Didn't you think the second half of the Super Bowl was a little more fair?
Yes.
It got better.
And I think the Super Bowl was probably the most fair that the Chiefs had been called all year long.
It didn't start off that way necessarily, but by the second quarter it was.
And I wonder if they didn't get a little bird in their ear.
No, I think they probably did. I think they probably said, hey, you guys got to be a little bit more both, call us down the middle. That's my opinion.
Right. Because there's, going back to a lot of these games, there's a lot of questionable calls that they made for the Chiefs.
Remember that one that was at the AFC Championship game, the offensive pass interference from Buffalo? Come on. That was cheap.
Yeah. Well, we could sit here and talk about that stuff all day, but hey, real quick, I did have in my notes that the Cubs were currently undefeated, but guess what happened?
They lost today.
They're 8-1. I was so excited because they have a good young core, and then they lost.
Man, they're already a third of the way through spring training, ain't they?
Yeah. We're like 24 days now from opening day. And
who plays on the opening? Does everybody?
So,
when is opening day?
So it's kind of a little different. I'll have to look up the specifics, but the first two opening day games are going to be in Japan. The Japan series is, I believe, the 20-something of March. And the Cubs and Dodgers will play there. And They will play a couple of games over there in Japan, then they will come back, play a week of more spring training games, and then they will officially kick off the season.
Cubs look like they could be a pretty young team, ain't they?
Oh, I think they will, because
Not necessarily going on with them being undefeated preseason, but they made some pretty good.
they made some very good moves. Bringing in like Kyle Tucker, Ryan Presley. Those were two big acquisitions in the offseason that they brought in. Really looked good. Made their team look fantastic.
I heard on Fox Sports the other day talking that this probably the best Cubs going to be the best Cubs team since the World Series year.
I can agree with that. The 18th and 19th is the Tokyo series.
Wow, that's early, ain't it?
Yes,
And that's a regular season game.
That is 2 regular season games.
Usually March 31st or April 1st. Usually
Yes. Well, so how they're going to do this is they've done this. They've done this several years now. Last year it was in Korea.
Mm-hmm. Will there be any preseason games left for anybody else when they do that?
Yes, preseason games will still be going on up until the actual opening day. But they'll play 2 games, and then they'll come back to the States, play some more preseason games, and then officially kick off the season.
Right, kick off the
about a week and a half later.
So around the 20-something?
Yes.
Because usually it's around anywhere from about March 7th or 8th to the 1st. One year it seemed like it was April 2nd, maybe, but it was always...
Yeah. So it fluctuates, but this year opening day is Thursday, March 27th. And, everybody's got one thing. If they were a president for a day, that would be a federal holiday. Banks would be closed.
Right.
Schools would be closed. Medical offices would be closed. Nobody would be leaving their houses, and everybody would have to stay home and watch baseball.
Right.
If I was president.
There you go. I agree.
But hey, WBC qualifiers for Pool B is kicking off. Pool A ended last Tuesday. Nicaragua and Chinese Taipei have moved on to the WBC from Pool A qualifiers. Pool B is Germany, Colombia, Brazil, and China. And that is going on in Tucson, Arizona.
And that will begin in January of next year, the actual...
WBC? No, that'll be going on next March.
Oh, I thought that started earlier than that.
No, it goes on for the month of March.
How many games does that entail altogether? Several, isn't it?
Yes, because you'll have pool play, which is everybody plays everybody in
probably
the pool.
100 games, ain't it?
Well, probably not that many, but it's close.
Right.
Everybody.
Well over 50.
Yes, you'll play everybody in the pool, and then whoever wins that pool, then it'll be single elimination from there.
That's always pretty fun.
But it kicked off today. Germany beat China, so they're 1-0 on the year in the pool qualifier, and I have not heard for Game 2. Game 2 is going on right now. So I haven't,
where's it? Okay.
I haven't heard anything that's going on.
Is that televised?
Yes, I actually watched a few minutes of it today. It's going on the app.
Can you watch it live?
Yes, on the MLB app or on YouTube on the WBC YouTube channel, Facebook page, or any of those you have there. But I will get back next week. It'll all be over with. We'll have all the
talk
breakdown.
a little bit more, break it down a little
yes.
bit more there,
and we'll go through all the qualifiers and all the teams going to be in the WBC, where all the games will be held, and we'll go all through that.
That's a pretty big deal.
It is. It's a huge deal. It's a big revenue.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's, like next year it's going to be played in like Arizona, Houston, Miami, and Tokyo.
Oh, it will be. It'll be played here?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
That'd be pretty neat to hit one of them games, wouldn't it?
Oh, I would love to. If I could, I would go. But with it being in March and I not really get much time off in March, it's just not possible.
Unless it's a weekend or something.
Right. But we're just about there. You got anything else?
Not really. It was a little bit of a slower week with football season over and stuff. But I think we'll have a lot to talk about especially once we get to the draft and we get to free agency. That's going to be interesting. There'll be a lot of football news there.
Once actual baseball season begins.
And once baseball season actually gets kicked in, there'll be a lot more to talk about there.
It's kind of slow with spring training.
There's going to be a lot to talk about with wrestling all the way through WrestleMania.
Right, because right now with baseball is everybody's still kind of getting their bearings under them, and not everybody is out there healthy, ready to go. Some guys are healthy, other guys are not, and some guys are still taking it easy because opening day is the 27th, but you think about it, it only takes a few days to get ready. These guys are professionals, so
sure.
We've only been playing for a week or so, so it's kind of slow so far.
And that's typical.
Absolutely.
That's typical.
Absolutely. I'll watch it, but I'm not as big into spring training as I.
We probably need to break down the games, and it's going to be in the regular season games. It's going to be overseas. We need to talk about those some.
Yes,
when it comes time.
Those are going to be fun games. And
they'll be important games because they're regular season games.
Absolutely.
So we're going to put a bow on this thing for this week, and we'll see what we come back with next week.
Yep, let's do it. You all have a great week.
And we got a lot more to come, guys. We may have been sometimes just a little slower, but I have a lot of ideas that we're going to discuss. He and I are going to discuss, especially when we start getting around the football season, some things that I want us to do, and this could even spread over to baseball, my ideas are. But anyway, we have a lot of good things coming ahead, so just bear with us there.